Look at this mess. Get up and clean it now.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Hurry up.
Right away.
Hey, those chores aren't going to do themselves.
All right. I'm on it.
That's what I thought.
Tired of this kind of shameful life. I lie to my friends so they won't know my secret pain. God help me.
Connell loved sitting outside every evening. Before the sun went down, his old plastic chair was always waiting for him in front of his house, and Connell would sit like a king. He sits proudly, lifted his chest, and spoke loudly so everyone could hear him. "My brothers," he would say, "a man must control his home totally. Once your wife climbs your head, you are finished. Your wife must not have a say in your home." His friends listened carefully. Yusuf nodded as if writing notes in his mind. Emeka smiled and agreed with every word. Only Sadiq stayed quiet, sometimes shaking his head and smiling. Connell enjoyed the attention. It made him feel powerful. What nobody knew was that Connell spoke loudly outside because inside his house, he barely spoke. When Connell married Beezy, he was full of confidence. He promised to take care of everything, but life hit him early. 2 months after the wedding, he lost his job. Small jobs came, but for a short time. Bills increased, rent waited for nobody. When Connell fell sick, it was Beezy who paid hospital bills. When his family needed help, Beezy borrowed money in her own name. Slowly, Beezy became the pillar of the house, and slowly, Connell became afraid. At first, she only reminded him of certain things. Later, she instructed him, and he dare not disagree. After a while, she started commanding him. Connell learned that keeping quiet saves him from trouble. He learned to agree quickly. He learned to bow his head without saying a word, but inside him, shame grew. Each time people praised Beezy and said, "You are lucky to have a strong woman," Connell felt small, so he created another life outside his home. Outside his gate, he became the man he was not inside. He spoke boldly so nobody would suspect his weakness. He advised other men so he would not look like one who needed advice. That was how the lies started. One evening, Connell spoke with fire. "A woman must shiver whenever she sees you. Too much love makes women disrespect you." That night,
Why are you coming home this late?
Stop asking me questions, woman!
Yusuf went home angry. When his wife asked why he came home late, he shouted at her for the first time and pushed her away. The atmosphere was filled with shock waves and the house smell of chaos. Then silence followed. Emeka also changed. He began checking his wife's phone. He questioned every call. Peace left his home quietly. Only Sadiq went home and laughed. He told his wife about Connell's talk and said, "Noise is not strength." They ate together and slept well. Days passed. When Yusuf's house became a war zone, neighbors knew his voice in a way they never did. One night, his wife packed a bag and tried to leave. Yusuf remembered Connell's words and locked the door. By morning, she left quickly before he woke up from sleep. Emeka's own became worse. One evening, his wife screamed so loudly that neighbors gathered. Someone shouted that police should be called. Emeka stood shaking, realizing too late that he had turned his home into a battlefield. Outside, Connell still laughed loudly. Inside, he still lived in fear. One Saturday afternoon, Yusuf, Emeka, and Sadiq decided to visit Connell without calling. Yusuf wanted answers. Emeka wanted the truth. He wanted to be sure he was doing things the right way, as his home had become a battlefield. When they got to Connell's house, the door was not locked. As they stepped inside, they heard crying. Connell was on his knees, crying like a child. Beezy stood over him with a broom in her hand. "I haven't beaten you enough," she shouted. "You still go outside and teach men rubbish." Connell begged her, tears on his face. Please, people will see that you are mistreating me. Neighbors has already seen enough, Beezy said. Auntie Bose dropped her spoon. Children climbed chairs to look through windows. Connell's friends froze, their teacher on his knees. Beezy noticed them and laughed. So these are the men he has been deceiving. Connell covered his face in shame. Yusuf was the first to speak. His voice was shaking. So this is how you live? Emeka added, you destroyed our homes with your mouth. Connell cried harder, then he spoke.
I lied because I was ashamed. I don't want anyone to know my reality. It wasn't intentional. I am sorry.
I lied, he said. I lied because I was ashamed. They listened. I talk outside because I can't talk inside. I advise you because I needed to feel like a man somewhere. If you people are struggling, then I won't look alone. Sadiq sighed deeply. Connell continued, I never wanted to help you or make your home better. I just didn't want you to see the truth about my reality. Silence sat heavy. Yusuf stood up. My wife left me because I listened to you. Emeka looked down. My house is broken too. Connell held his head. I know, and I will carry that guilt forever. What a shame you all, Sadiq said. Don't you know a wrong advice when you hear one? I pray you make things right before it is too late. They left quietly. That night, Yusuf faced an empty house and learned that loudness does not build love. Emeka knelt before his wife, understanding that fear does not bring respect. Sadiq held his wife and thanked God he never mistook noise for wisdom. Connell did not sit outside for a long while. The plastic chair stayed empty, the street noticed. Inside his house, he finally faced the truth, that pretending to be strong can destroy many lives, including your own. Inside the house, something changed. Connell stopped shrinking. One evening, Beezy shouted from the kitchen as usual.
Where is this man? Come here now before I deal with you, nonsense.
He walked in and stood still. Don't talk to me like that, he said calmly. His voice did not shake. Beezy stopped what she was doing and turned slowly. She had never heard that tone before. Connell continued, I may not have a job yet, but I am not a child. This house is ours. There was no insult, no begging, just presence. That night, Beezy did not shout again. The next morning, she served his food without words. The house felt strange, but quiet. Days turned to weeks. Connell began to speak when decisions were made, not to fight but to be heard. When Beezy crossed a line, he corrected her gently and firmly. When she was right, he agreed without fear. Slowly, her voice softened, not because Connell became rich, not because he shouted, but because he stopped disappearing and started acting like a man. Outside, Yusuf faced an empty house and learned that borrowed strength destroys. Emeka rebuilt slowly, learning that fear cannot hold love. Sadiq remained steady, knowing peace does not need an audience. Months later, Connell brought the plastic chair outside again. He sat quietly, no shouting, no advice, no pretense. When someone asked him, Connell, how do you handle your wife now? He looked up and said calmly, I don't handle her, I handle myself. Beezy walked past at that moment. She didn't shout, no command. She nodded and went inside. People waited for Connell to say more, but he didn't because he had learned something the hard way. Even though he lied about his life, teaching men to be cruel to their wives to feel like men is wrong in all aspects. A real man does not need to scare his wife, mistreat her, perform for friends, or turn his home into a battlefield to feel strong. And for the first time, the street was quiet, and so was Connell's life. If you enjoyed this story, kindly hit the like button, subscribe and drop a comment. I appreciate you all for your support. Thank you for watching.